Hello everyone, my name is Branka and this is Milangela's Soul Garden, the very first episode of my first podcast ever. I was never into technology or new gadgets, but then, at one stage I decided to give it a go and enrolled in the London Real Broadcaster Self-Course and kicked myself out of the comfort zone into the unknown. So what is the purpose of this episode? I'd like to tell you what the podcast is all about, who is it meant for, and a little something about myself. Originally, I'm from Slovenia and my mother tongue is Slovenian. I've decided to do the podcasting in English though, as I would like to reach out to as many people as possible. An English teacher by profession, I've been helping people to overcome language barriers ever since my late teens, I guess. My students say I have that innate ability to understand the struggles connected to learning a foreign language and so offer the help they need. And that really makes me pleased. As for me, it's a give and take, exchange of knowledge, skills, and mostly energies intertwined in strong, long-lasting bonds. Not so much about the language itself in the end, but rather what is gained on either side through the process. In my early 20s, I spent 2 years in the UK, working as an au pair. I was lucky enough my host family, with 2 young boys, was supportive of my efforts to enhance my English. Yet, what I enjoyed most were in-depth conversations with the boys' mom, a well-read intellectual, passionate about books, literature, and writing. Having come home to Slovenia, I realized my passion was teaching, which I've been doing for more than a quarter of a century now. However, some 5 years or so ago, it dawned on me that some people might enjoy what I read. Books authored by Eckhart Tolle, Michael Singer, Deepak Chopra, and many others. And so, my warmers changed, and much to my surprise, a great majority of people were happy to gain some insight into non-conventional, spiritual. The idea of sharing knowledge and discussing enticing topics was silently growing inside of me. Ever since I remember, I've been a shoulder to cry on. To the point, it was awkward at times as people I have only just met confided in me asking my opinion or maybe telling me stories you usually don't to a complete stranger. To answer the question why doing the podcast, I need to go back even further. At the beginning of my 40s, my body was trying to tell me I was making mistakes, but I would not listen. I wanted to accomplish yet another thing and then another one and another one until, having been diagnosed with cancer, I was brought down to my knees and had to fight for my life. I remember being a complete mess, my mind probably worse than my body. I was looking around, trying to find the answer who was to blame. I got miserable, tired, lost, scared to death and desperately searching for the magic wand that would change the situation and erase the problems. Little did I know that realizing the culprit was actually me, I turned a new page. It hurt. It hurt like hell and it was crazy and scary and yet long enough to make me hear the voice. Listen to life in you and change, or be it your way. If only back then I had been the way I am today. none of the bad and silly things would have taken place. But they did. Mentally or physically, not being in the place you can draw the energy and willpower from, I took the conventional path. I was a good girl, you see, who was taught to obey. So the roller coaster started going down and up and down, and for some time, really downhill. All in all, it seemed I was doing okay for some time. When hospitalized for various reasons, I invented a part I was playing. So when the staff were doing their jobs, I imagined I was a kind of a diva in a luxurious hotel, and they were waiting on me hand and foot. I had all the time in the world to read books and enjoy my peace and quiet. Leaving hospitals, I could never seek assistance and support in any of the group or individuals who were sitting across the exit from the hospital to talk to you. You must know I truly appreciate their intent and compassion, but I believed I was better off being optimistic and thinking of what comes next, rather than complaining and moaning about my aches and worries. Finally, the nightmare was over, or so I thought. But during one of the last checkups, I was told my treatment needn't have been that drastic. The second operation was apparently not necessary. But the trouble was, it left me scarred and in a terrible state. The ground beneath my feet got soft. My heart started pounding and my hands were sweaty. If only they had not told me that, because I was a complete nerve wreck. To cut the long story short, having experienced the pain and difficulties around ill health, I would like to talk about how to take a new path, look at life from a more bright perspective with confidence and the power of your mind. I won't be talking about the health conditions that much. By no means will I be brooding on the whys, but rather keeping optimistic and spreading joy and happiness. People who will most likely listen to my podcast are probably women aged between 35 and 45, but really anyone having or being faced with a serious health condition who believe that we ourselves can do magical things by taking care of our body and mind. People who understand that to be and stay healthy is the domain of the Holy Trinity, the mind, the body, and the soul, and thus open to spiritual topics and meditation. People who are ready to take action and dare to find the creative version of themselves, playfully going through life, exploring the good in nature, and happy around animals, as I firmly believe this latter relationship is a true blessing. As said before, the podcast's name is Milangela's Soul Garden. Now, Milangela is the name that's been with me for over 20 years, apparently waiting for the right opportunity. As for the soul and the garden, a lot of food for the soul. The podcast is about transformation, the shift from inside out, and the awakening of the soul. A place that brings to mind a garden where you grow and nourish peaceful thoughts in tune with omnipresent intelligence, where your beliefs may be challenged and make you find a new connection with nature and its ways. Right, I suppose enough has been said. I'll be happy if you stay tuned for my next episode when I'll be hosting a special guest from the States, yogini, indie writer, and so much more. Till next time, Milangela.